Welcome everyone to this week's Fish Friday video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 24 and we have another incredible fish coming at you. This thing is definitely the gentle giant of the sea. We are talking about the whale shark today. Whale shark, scientific name Rhynchodon typus, or Rhynchodon, but I think it's Ren. Then it's part of the family Rhynchodontidae. It's the only member in its family. As anyone who knows anything about this fish, it is a very, very unique fish. The whale sharks are found in tropical oceans. They are very rarely seen in waters that are below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which that's about 21 degrees Celsius. So, you know, they're really, really warm waters. Whale sharks are known to live between 80 and 130 years. There's not a whole lot known about its growth, but there have been documented cases of kind of both of those happening, so you can probably guess that that's a very large range. Don't get me wrong, it's a 50-year gap, but it's still a decent guess as to how far they live. As you can tell in pictures, I'm sure many of y'all have seen, it does have a dark back with a kind of paler belly. The back has these spots and stripes kind of throughout there. But something that's really interesting is that those spots and stripes are unique to each individual. You know, a lot of people have heard about tigers being identified by their stripes. Their stripes are unique to each individual tiger. Well, the pattern of spots and stripes, and you can tell in there, you know, you got some the spots are kind of connected, got some stripes, things like that. They're just unique to each individual, so you can actually tell them apart. And in fact, scientists use a program that NASA developed. NASA developed this program for the Hubble telescope. And the Hubble telescope, this program was designed to map the stars from the Hubble telescope. And but scientists actually modified that program to look at whale sharks to be able to identify individual sharks. And to date, there's like I want to say a little over 180 that are known individuals that we have mapped their spots. Don't quote me on that. As you can see, they have two dorsals set very far back. Those dorsals kind of indicate it's not a very strong or fast swimmer. The mouth is set forward, and that goes into how it eats, as I'm sure many of you have heard. But mouth is set forward, whereas most sharks, the mouth is actually on the bottom. Think of a great white, mouth on the bottom with the eyes kind of pointed forward. A little bit to the back, but more pointed forward. That's because they're a predator. The mouth is to the front, very small eyes, so they can just open up. That's because of what they eat. Now, something interesting about their eyes, not only are they set kind of low and to the back, their eyes are actually covered in what are called denticles. Kind of think of them as small teeth or like small warts. Their eyes are basically covered in like small warts, and that is so their eyes are actually protected from things. And not only that, they can actually pull their eyeballs way into their sockets, like quite a ways away. Basically, instead of like blinking to protect their eye, it has little warts on it that make it tougher, and then it sucks the eye in if it feels like it's really good, the eye is really in danger. Something to note that almost everyone knows about this: these are large. These are big, very, very big. There's many reports of whale sharks being 18 meters or more, which is about 60 feet. Some reports of up to 50,000 pounds. But they're very hard to measure. When they're swimming, it's, you know, they're always kind of like moving. If they're on land, you can pull it and stretch. It's really hard to measure them. And there's some techniques that people have kind of developed or tried to develop to get a more accurate measurement in the water, but nothing's really come forward. Most of your whale sharks, though, they're going to be about the 12-meter mark, which is about 39, 40 feet. And they're going to weigh about 15 tons, which that's about 30,000 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilograms, I'm sorry, but that's about what they weigh. They are the largest non-mammalian vertebrate. So basically largest non-mammal on the planet, vertebrate on the planet. Obviously the blue shark is bigger. Something interesting though, it's that we'll get into is the second largest fish. So the whale shark, and now we're finally getting into how it eats, which I'm sure many of you already know. But the whale shark is a filter feeder. Fun and interesting enough, there's only 2 other sharks beside the whale shark that actually filter feed as well. The megamouth shark and the basking shark. And the basking shark is actually the second largest fish, second largest non-mammalian vertebrate in the world. So both of your filter feeders are big. Now, just because they're a filter feeder, that does not mean that they can't eat fish. They just have to be really small fish. But basically, if it finds a very small school of fish, it's not going to spit out any water for it. It's just going to continue swallowing. There was a documentary done, I believe in 2018, that showed the whale shark swimming through a cloud of eggs and sperm that during a mating event from like shad or something. Now, these feed either by ram feeding or by suction feeding. So they are either swimming along with their mouth open and just, taking whatever they can get in their mouth, or they kind of sit still and they just open their mouth and close it. Open, close it, and just kind of continuously suck water in. Now, they do have teeth. It's important to know. They have about 300 rows of very tiny teeth. But these are vestigial. They're actually not for anything. They're just left over from their ancestral history. But inside of their gill arches, they have what are called filter pads, and that's what they're doing. The water actually comes at a slight angle, almost parallel, not perpendicular, but almost parallel. The water comes through and it basically scrapes across, and those filter pads are basically just taking all that organic material and sticking it to it, and then they pull off the excess water and then they swallow a whole bunch. Now those filter pads can get clogged, but there has been some whale sharks that have been videoed and it seems like they're coughing, and scientists kind of think that that's what they're doing to clean out those filter pads, is to kind of like reverse the flow and clean them out really quick. Now, there's not a lot known about the reproduction of the whale shark. They thought that there's only been one mating event ever documented, and it was an unsuccessful mating event, so they're not entirely sure if that was, just fluke or what was going on. But they are known to be oviparous, meaning that the eggs will actually hatch inside of the female and they give live birth. It's not true live birth because they're still eggs, but the eggs are just retained inside the female. There's only been one real documented of a female that's been pregnant. In 1996, a female was captured and she was pregnant, and she had about 300 pups inside of her. Now, because of that and other evidence, the evidence kind of indicates that not all of the pups are born at the same time, but rather a female will actually store the sperm from a male from one mating somehow, and they produce a steady stream of pups over a long period. So basically there's a mating event happens. This is the evidence. There's not there's not any proof to this, but the evidence seems to indicate that the male and female mate, and then the female will store the sperm, and then she'll give birth to a couple of pups, and then a couple more pups, but they'll all be inside of their deal. So it's more like the sperm will fertilize a couple of eggs, and then a couple of days later it will fertilize another couple of eggs, to where inside of her there's a whole bunch of different age classes, basically, of larval whale sharks. Now, kind of your last interesting little tidbit. These are a very docile, very gentle fish. People have swum with them. It's not always legal, depending on where you are. But some people are scared, they're like, oh, it can swallow me up, if it decides to open its mouth. And it actually can't. If it even swallowed a person, it would choke to death. Because even though that its mouth is about 5 feet across, its throat is only about the size of a quarter. And for those of you non-Americans who don't know what a quarter is, it's basically like 2 centimeters across. It's about like that. So, very, very small throat. Super interesting, incredibly large fish, and it has one of the smallest throats in the world. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I would really appreciate it. Hey, Merry Christmas to all. I hope to see you again. We will be doing a special Fish Friday of something Christmassy. Not entirely sure, but we'll figure it out. But thank you guys so much again. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and peace.